Minute late. I hate that.
I'm on time now.
Yeah, we were waiting on you to get here, and here you are. You made us late. So anyway, if you all would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We do have a consent agenda this time.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, on to the regular agenda. We have a request to close 6th Street from Poplar to Main Street on the 28th of September from 8 a.m. to 1:30 for the chili cook-off and for trash cans and picnic tables.
Yes.
Electricity.
Commissioners, you have before you the request from the United Way to close Poplar to Main on September 28th. And they are also asking, this is for the annual chili cook-off, and they are also asking for city assistance with having trash cans out there, picnic tables, and then electricity. And this has been sent out to city staff, and they are okay with this request. I'd recommend approval.
I move we approve this request.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, consider an ordinance adopting the very exciting 2024 edition of the Uniform Public Offense Code. Chris?
Yeah, and I'll cover both items 5 and 6 on this. The memo covers both. This is an annual exercise by the City Commission. As you referenced, the UPOC, which is the Uniform Public Offense Code, and the STO, which is the Standard Traffic Ordinance. These are essentially a local ordinance that lines up with state law. We adopt the whole book by reference. Typically, there's changes year to year just to reflect legislative changes. Probably the most significant, and it's not a big year in terms of changes, was in the UPOC on disorderly conduct. We already made that change, as you recall, months ago. It dealt with the noisy conduct. So we've now repealed our kind of Band-Aid ordinance that got us to this point. The new UPOC covers that. STO, a lot of minutia. There is obviously improved route for like limited driving privileges rather than just a suspension, it going to restricted. That is set to take effect in the new calendar year, 2025. So that's all built into the ordinance. Not too much to report on this. I'd stand for any questions. Chief's aware as well on the changes on the UPOC and STO if you have any specific changes on any or questions on any of the changes. Otherwise, 2 motions, separate motion for the UPOC, separate motion for the STO to approve the changes.
Ordinance numbers.
We've got it in there too.
5151-24 for the UPOC and 5152-24 for the STO.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve 515124.
I so move.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now 515224.
I move that we approve 515224.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Warkentin House. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners. As you know, the City of Newton owns the Warkentin House that's located on East 1st Street. The museum is ran by the Warkentin House Association, and that's made up of a volunteer board and a group of volunteer docents. The board employs a part-time employee for about 10 hours a month, and this house was constructed in about 1886 to 87. It's about 138 years old. It's listed on the Kansas Register of Historic Places and the United States National Register of Historic Places. 80% of the contents of the museum belong to the original owners, Bernard and Wilhelmina Warkentin. One of the unique physical characteristics of the Victorian period house are the multiple fireplaces and chimneys. The display that is on the screen and you had in your packet shows those 4 different chimneys that are running to different areas of the house. That would be the parlor, and then one that goes to the dining room and the library, and then the master bedroom, and then one goes to the old kitchen and the basement boiler. 3 of those chimneys, they feed fireplaces with historic, unique mantles. From a historical perspective, the chimneys are significant to the exterior house aesthetic and a part of the contributing architecture for the historic registers. Back in May, when we had the windstorm, one of the chimney caps was blown off of the master bedroom chimney. We brought somebody out to replace it, and while they were there with a lift, we sent our building inspectors up to look at the chimneys. We've been watching these chimneys. At the beginning of the year, we thought we were probably going to need to be doing some improvements, but we went ahead and sent somebody up to really take a look and see where we were at. And we believe that it is time for us to repair the chimneys, and it's more than just tuck pointing. And I included a lot of pictures in the packet for you. After inspection, we believe the chimneys really need to be rebuilt and rebuilt down into the attic. Once you get into the attic, they look great because they haven't been out, in the weather. And this won't be just your average chimney redo because these are a contributing feature to the structure and they're on the historic register. They would need to be taken down and then rebuilt exactly the same, utilizing the same brick if we can, or brick that is similar in nature that could match so that it doesn't change the appearance of the house. We want to maintain and retain the historical significant appearance of those chimneys. Staff also reached out to the State Historic Preservation Office about a Heritage Trust Fund grant. We have received trust fund grants in the past for the house. We utilized those for improvements to stabilization of the foundation of the house when we've had some interior cracking and things and needed to stabilize the house. Of course, any structure that's 138 years old needs to have some maintenance done to it. And so really at this point, I think that the State Historic Preservation Office, that's the SHPO, you've heard us talk about that before when we talk about historic structures. They really try to spread their Heritage Trust Fund grants all around the state, and there's multiple properties like this that are vying for this type of a competitive grant, and I believe that probably we have utilized that. We did, the last one we had, I believe, was in 2012, and so I don't think our chances of getting a grant are very good based on our discussions with the state staff at this point. In addition to needing chimney work, there is a portico that's on the west side. It kind of supports that second floor bedroom. This is the area, if you're looking at the house, where horse and buggy used to be able to pull in there right next to the house so you didn't get wet. And these stones have really just kind of deteriorated, and there's about 16 to 20 of those. This picture doesn't show it great, but you can kind of see how the ones on the bottom are spalling away. They get wet, and then with the freeze-thaw cycle, they start to kind of chip away. And we need to replace those. The work to do that, we have to support that second floor while that's being done and the stones are being replaced. We have found one contractor that's interested in performing this work. This is a historic structure. You need a mason to do the work. Kind of a tricky deal. Sutherland Builders has been doing some work on the Warkentin House over the years, and the estimate to do this work is $210,000. That sounds like a lot. On all these past improvements, the Warkentin Association has helped raise funds for these. The group sold, actually put it out on Facebook, and you could pay for a spindle. There was a spindle project when we were painting the house, and just different projects. Yeah. The association and volunteers in the community, they have donated funds for different things. This is a public property that you could say, okay, well, should the city be spending money on this? But we have multiple multiple different types of facilities that appeal to multiple different parts of the public and of our community. And this is a piece of our community history, and it provides opportunity for everyone to visit a unique structure in the McKinley Historic District. We have visitors that come from all over the nation and the world to visit the Warkentin House. And so the time has come where we're going to need to put a little bit of money into it for replacement of the chimneys. We believe that because of the estimated cost, we think we have some funds that we could utilize this from our economic development funds. And so we could pay for the project with cash. These come from that sales tax fund. They can be used for either infrastructure or economic development. We just call it that economic development fund. That's why I mentioned that. This project really falls in both categories because we do have visitors that come from out of town to see the house. We also have, school students that go through the house as well. And so at this time, the commission really just needs to give us direction on, do you want us to move forward with the project? This is really a project that needs to occur so that we don't have additional damage. If something would happen with one of the chimneys, it's probably going to damage the roof. Do you have any questions?
I'm not sure it's a matter of if we would like to or want to. It's a matter of probably has to be done.
Yeah, and I believe we do have some board members that are here in the audience. I serve on the board, and let's see, there's Dawn and Stan are here from the board. We had a couple others that couldn't attend this evening as well.
Were we gonna at least attempt the grant, or just not even go there?
It's my understanding that the state has said you're not going to be successful. Rebecca, you want to?
Yes, we could always continue to attempt this grant cycle. It does only open once a cycle, and we'd be very close to the cutoff date if it hasn't already passed for this season. So that's something to consider. We always do, in all of our projects, look for additional funding opportunities in grants and other forms. So none of that would be off the table, but we would still want to be able to have the funding up front to ensure that the project was a success.
Donna, this 210,000 comes from a fund that has about how much in it right now? Do you remember?
It's got over 2 million.
Okay.
This is where we pay for things like the Hillsborough company that's coming in, we're going to pay for that turning lane with the county. And any incentives we ever do for people, this is where it comes from. It's for economic development and for infrastructure.
Okay. So that still leaves us
Quite a bit.
yeah, this is about 10% of that or whatever. So okay.
There are things that come out of there automatically. We pay for some of like the chamber contract and the health ministries comes out of there, things like that. But this, things are set in there that we aren't going to do, so it should be fine.
Okay.
Well, I agree with Leroy. We might as well get it fixed before winter sets in.
Did Paul indicate when he could squeeze this work in?
I think it would be this fall, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, that's my understanding.
good.
I did notice on one of those chimneys, it looked like they had fixed it a little bit. It had a little bit different brick.
There's been some repairs over the years. You do your best to match it.
Yeah. Well, I need to go by and look at it, but hopefully they can, like if they've got used brick, they can conglomerate it to where, one chimney has all the same brick and then have newer brick. in one
Right.
spot, so.
Or try to keep the newer brick closer to the roof where you don't see it as well, that kind of thing. Paul was really good about that. And that's why we wouldn't put this project out to bid, because we try and find somebody that has,
That knowledge.
and is good with working with historic structures.
Good.
Yeah, I will testify he is good. Did he say how they were going to approach the 16 to 20 of that limestone rock there? I mean, are they going to take every one of them down and then start over, or how are they going to take out the bottom ones and leave the ones on top?
Yeah, they're going to have to take them out. Of course, they have to, put in all of their support system and then pull them out. And, when they get into the project, they may have a few additional ones that they're going to have troubles with.
No doubt.
Well, that'll be fun to watch. Thank you guys for serving on the board, and the whole crew. We really appreciate volunteers wanting to do good things for the city of Newton.
So if you want us to move forward, I would just ask that you approve the project as presented and award the project to Sutherland Builders.
I move that we approve this project with Sutherland Builders.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, thank you.
Consider plans and specs for the pavement reconstruction on Spencer Road from East First to Southeast 12th and 14th, and set a bid date. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners, Spencer Road is a major collector, and it's in need of reconstruction. I think we have a visual here with the phasing we're talking about. This roadway was reconstructed about 25 years ago, and we utilized KDOT funds at that time. This was when I-135 was detoured because the interstate used to be underneath First and Broadway, and it all changed when the new interstate was built, and they had to detour traffic over to Spencer Road during that project. And so KDOT helped pay for Spencer, but that concrete pavement has not stood up well to traffic, and we are having a lot of joints where there's cracking and spalling at the joints themselves. We're getting quite a few complaints on this, and we've had our street staff just doing pothole patching at this point, knowing this project was coming forward. So what we are planning to do, we have the design ready to go. We utilized a consultant to assist with this. We did a lot of geotechnical evaluation because the base has really collapsed on this. And so we're going to need to put down, we'll remove everything. That would be all the pavement, the base, all of the curb and gutter, because it was poured monolithically. So the pavement and the curb was poured all in one when this project was originally done. And we will be putting back either 10 inches of crushed limestone or crushed concrete would be the base, and then we would lay down asphalt. We've selected to utilize asphalt for the driving surface so we can do it quicker on this project. There's just a lot of employees in this industrial area, and we want to be able to get in and get out quickly. And we'll put back curb and gutter. Everything would be put back exactly the same width and look like it does today, just a different pavement type. We're proposing to build the project in 3 phases. You can see on the screen, and it's shown in your packet, that phase 1 would be from First Street just south of Southeast 3rd. And then the second phase would go from that point and go down to the railroad tracks. And then the last phase would go from the tracks down to, it's Southeast 12th in the county, Southeast 14th in the city. So the 12th Street intersection, if you will. We would keep this, we would keep the project, would keep traffic open southbound throughout the construction. And that would, whether we are building the northbound or the southbound piece, we will have southbound traffic. The intent is to get people in, and then when they do their business and they're ready to leave, then they can determine how they're going to leave based on which phase we're on. But it would always be going southbound. And we will be building each phase, we'll build one side at a time so that we can carry traffic through. And the first phase, we would like to, assuming we get good bids and you approve it this evening, we would put this thing out to bid so we could do phase 1 yet this year. The intent here is we have several projects that are going to be happening in this area. And if you think in your mind about Spencer from 1st to 12th, we're also going to need to move forward with Hillside from 1st to 12th because we have a large development that's coming in this area. And at the same time, on Monday, the bridge project at I-135 and 36th Street started, and you're going to start seeing more activity there. So what we're trying to do is phase these things in so that if we start on the north end of Spencer, we can get down to the south end before we would start on the north end of Hillside, hoping to begin it at the beginning of next year. We are going to, if you approve the project tonight, we will have an open house, come and go type public meeting with all of the property owners that are adjacent to the property. And we'll be doing hand deliveries about this public meeting to everybody that is from the interstate to Spencer within this area. Because if you think in your mind about, say, all of the businesses that would be to the west of, say, like Bunting Magnetics, but they are still east of the interstate. Their only access is via Southeast 3rd and Southeast 4th. They cannot get out any other way but to come over to Spencer. And so we need to notify all those businesses and keep them in the loop on the project as well. And then you go farther south, and all of those businesses they're deep in there, and they butt up to Spencer, but they don't have another way out. So this is a tricky one, and we want to make sure everybody understands how the project is going to move forward, and we will be providing them with a flyer and a door hanger format, taking it into many of the businesses and asking them to come in for a meeting that will be held here at City Hall on August 20th, just to give them some idea what's happening. We'll mail out to them as well. But if you approve the project, we will move forward and we would set the bids, the competitive bidding process. We would open bids on September 17th at 11 a.m. here at City Hall. The cost of this project, it has been in the capital improvement program for several years, and the estimated cost of all the design, the construction, all the inspection is the $3.6 million. Federal fund exchange dollars that we have received for the last several years, we have held that back, and we have $300,000 that we'll use to pay towards that project to pay that down to the $3.3 million that we would then bond that project. And the costs for that project would be bonded, and then annual debt service payments would be budgeted in the bond and interest fund. And Donna has already accounted for that in the budget that you have and are considering now.
What's the analysis for the lifespan of the asphalt compared to the concrete?
Yeah, we would expect, the concrete should have lasted longer than it did. And we would expect that we'd be seeing 30 to 40 years out of this.
30
The
to 40
difference, they're very similar nowadays. But with an asphalt roadway, we can put down an overlay if we need to. Where if it's concrete, your option is to patch with potholes or to remove and replace.
And the overlay could be estimated to be what, like in 10 years?
Yes, 10 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally, we wouldn't recommend it, but because this is a tricky area to get in and out of, and we want to be able to lay it quickly and allow traffic to drive on it. So if you are ready to move forward, we would ask that you would approve the project plans and set the bid date as presented.
Well, I would move that we accept the project plans and the bid date to be September the 17th.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Questions?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
My business is there.
Who are you and what's your address?
My name's Mike Fellows, and I'm here for something else, but I work at Forest Product Supply, which will be affected by this. Does the asphalt take into account the truck traffic that's on that road? I'm not familiar with road construction, but
Yes,
day in and day out, we have vehicles that weigh 48,000 pounds or more up and down that street.
it does. That's why we're putting the 10 inches of crushed rock base, and the asphalt mix that we'll be using would be suitable for that type of traffic.
Thank you. I didn't know. I just, because I know what we put down that street every day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thanks, Mike. We asked that question already. So, I know. Yeah. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. You might as well have stayed up there. We're the Citizens Forum. I only have one person on. It's a guy named Mike Fellows.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
I really came tonight to talk about something we started over a year ago. We started the Harvey County Constitution Contest a year ago, but at that time, we only involved the Newton Rayler High School, of which we had, I'm going to say we had a great experience with the students, with the staff, and all the elected officials, the school board members, city commissioners that elected to participate in the program. Because the idea of the program was to try and bring Harvey County together from a lot of different facets. So I came up with a Constitution contest that features an essay that's designed and made by the social science staff, and then it's presented to the students, and they have a timeline where they have to write a 2-page essay, and then it's judged by a bunch of local officials. Well, this year, from what we learned last year, I was able to contact all the high schools in Harvey County and encourage them to participate this and actually have the Harvey County Constitution contest. To my knowledge, we'd be the only county in Kansas that has something like that for all their schools. I invited all the schools. Newton accepted again, and so did Halstead. So the Railers get to compete with the Dragons this year. We're going to start our contest on Constitution Day. We have an announcement that has been made, a video by Ron Estes. The question will be formulated by the staff. I have no idea what they're going to talk about this year. But I'm out selecting judges, and I'm trying to involve people from different facets of the communities. Currently, I have Judge Richard Walker and Chad Gay have accepted. They're kind of my county representatives. I'm here to invite the mayor of the city of Newton to be the judge and representative for the city commission for Newton. I'll be going over to Halstead to their school board and their city commission, inviting the same people there. Last night I was able to invite Melissa Schreiber to be a judge and represent the Newton School Board. So that's what I'm really here is to announce what I think is an exciting program that involves many different facets of our community and try and help tie the community together. And then I also involve local businesses in this event because I have to raise prize money. Last year we were able to raise a little over $1,200, and if you look on that, all the money was given away to the students. We make a certified check, they take it home, and they can spend it. This year, we're going to try and raise more money because we're going to involve more students. So, on the back of your flyer, if you want to donate, where you make the check out to and where you send it is there for any of you, or if you want to share it with any of your friends or associates. Really looking for pledges, but because we'll make our official flyer right after Labor Day when I have the question formulated by the social science departments. So I guess in closing, I'm really here. I'm asking Rod Cry to be one of our judges, and so that he can participate in the process and represent the city of Newton in our, I don't know what you want to call it, when we grade the test papers or whatever. Last year was a lot of fun. So some of the neat news from last year is the lady that won third place actually also won an $80,000 arts scholarship. So it's kind of fun watching some of these students get involved in different things and that they got some recognition. So Rod,
I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
that's good. We'll get you on the list. And one last thing, I have monthly meetings at my house for the 4th Ward precinct people. And on July 11th, we have this wonderful city manager, Danielle Rivas, came over and visited with a group of 6 of us and explained what city managers do, what tax abatements are. We struggled with that one. But she represented the city, I thought, unbelievably well and explained to my little group why city managers are so important. And I think it's exciting when you have a city manager that'll get out and meet the people that she works for and represent the city so well. So thank you for coming again.
Very good.
We're happy too, Daniela, that you go do stuff like that. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they need to bring up? Or if not, we'll go around the horn. We'll start with
All
Kat.
right. Just thank you. Nothing much more. Thank you. You're next.
I just want to wish a have a great year to all the families and the kiddos starting school tomorrow. I know it's been a short summer, and being a mom of 3, we're starting high school, middle school, high school, and college. I'm praying for a great year.
I have nothing.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you.
No, sir.
That was quick. Okay, this meeting is adjourned.